Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So my panel is finished. Everything is stitched down. Nothing changed to what we did yesterday. The little leaf that was randomly sitting here, that worked in beautifully without crowding anything. I managed to move this through here just a fraction so that those little red dots are showing and the edge of that pansy or whatever that flower is in its own space. I was happy with the way this little junction point came together. So yeah, she is finished. Really, really pleased with it. She's just so beautiful. Let me zoom up a little bit for you. Really happy with the end product. Got some great elements in there from my stash of doilies, so now have a home instead of sitting in a cupboard. Love Peter Rabbit. I was so pleased that he joined the party. And then the crinoline lady, I couldn't believe when I found that. Yeah, beautiful. And the bird looking down on it. I really like how there's a tree theme winding through the whole thing, looking down into the garden. In most places anyway, other than there. Really pleased with it. So we're going to call that done. Like I think I may have said yesterday, I'm not going to put a backing on the piece. I don't tend to do that because I like looking at all those stitches, and sometimes I add things. I'll have a snippet of something and I'll go and stitch it onto the piece. So don't like to restrict myself. So these guys, now we've got the two bobbin pieces. So I just want to go have a quick look at them. I think I'm going to call them finished. And I'm going to just work on attaching them to the bobbin. Yeah. Yep. Happy with that. Got the path popping back up through here. Pleased I did that extra work on that piece through here when I did the bird house. That came up really well. Yep. Okay. So have a quick look at this one. And then I've got a few ideas to attach. What have we got happening here? This diamante has caught a thread. That's so typical of those things, those gems. Oh, I love it when all these pearly bits went on. It just gave this piece that little bit of glam. Love the butterfly. Oh, the memories. When you think about it, 6 months worth of, the little crinoline lady again. I was really into the crinoline ladies that particular week. Love all these little glammy bits through here. I should do a snippet roll that is just glam. Yeah, really good. Happy with that. Okay, so the plan is to attach the piece to the spool. Now you can just stitch that straight. Once again, I won't be putting a backing on my piece because I've got some other ones and I keep adding buttons and they just become thicker and thicker and thicker. But if you stitch them in like so, nice and tight into that zone, you are going to lose a portion of your beautiful work in behind it. Now, if it's staying in your hand and is just rolling out, well, that mightn't be a problem for you because you can still see it. My plan is to actually put a rod through here someday and have them all hanging down from my piece. Why is that camera moving? It's bumping it. Let me just move the camera out a fraction from the table. That way I can jiggle without jiggling you guys. So my thought is to add a piece to the bobbin that would connect it. So I went rummaging and I found just some fabric. Now this is some fabric left over from the French garden. We cut out some cross stitch pieces and I found this little piece of lace. Now, these were everywhere back in the day. I don't know if they were outside of Australia, but I found this at an op shop that was still in the box that it came in. Now, they used to hang these in the toilet, and they'd put a roll of toilet paper in them. Remember them? I was a kid when they were all the fashion. And I've seen them around in op shops, and I've avoided them because, you know, of obvious reasons. But this one was still in its actual box that it would have been gifted in. So it was quite interesting to see how they were presented to the world. And they actually looked gorgeous. They're sitting in this gorgeous little box with all this lace, toilet roll holder. And I thought, oh, you have never been out and serviced the community. So I grabbed it, and I was just looking at it, and I like this one because it's got this little tab here. I've been chopping away at it for some time. I've taken a bit off the bottom. So I thought this might actually work well, especially with this particular piece. So the plan is to use that tab to stitch it down, and then have my piece attach into here somewhere like that. And then the lace holds it onto the spool, and my piece can start there. And then if I'm looking along the top, I've got some lace there. So that's the plan, and I'm just going to make a bit of a measurement of what I think I might need. I'd like a little bit of lace peeking through. So I'm thinking that might be about the length there. We'll cut through there. So my next task will be to make a topper for these. So the theory is that stitches onto there, and then that will wrap over and stitch down. So that's not too hard. That was easy. Let's get some thread happening, and I'll just do a bit of a tacking stitch to join the two. So what are you all up to today? I'll just pin it. I hope you're getting some time to stitch. I think I will. I don't think there's anything major happening today, unless I've forgotten something. It's still early in the morning, and I haven't really looked at my phone to see what the schedule's like. So it's possible that I'm assuming that I have a reasonably quiet day. It's never a quiet day, is it? Even the days you think. And I do have a bit of a gap there where the two laces have been stitched together. So I should probably glance through my stash of offcuts and feed in there something. What's this? The first thing I can see is this little piece of lace. Different colour, no good. Let me just stand up instead of being lazy. Must be something in this mess. What about the ribbon that was on that? Look, that was the ribbon. I wonder if this could be... Oh, the bow's off. I'm just going to use the ribbon that was on it, to be honest. That'll do the trick. So let's just tuck that in there. It is damaged. Oh no, that's going to work. Is that straight? No. Let's get it straight. The top of my stitchery isn't straight to start with, so that's not helping anything. So it depends on how elaborate you want to be with your panels. If you want to have a play with some more stitching and make a topper that's quite decorative. It could be lots of running stitch. Really up to you. I might tuck that under when it comes to, oh, those scissors are just no good. When it comes to attaching it, I'll tuck that under so I get a nice neat edge. Okay. Did I knot that? Yep. So I'm just going to probably start down here and just do, I think just an overcast stitch will do the trick. Gosh, I can't believe we're closing in on the end of the project. It feels so epic, doesn't it? It's such a journey. It's become such a part of our lives too. This every second Wednesday, you're waiting for this prompt, or every other Wednesday, you're just waiting to catch up with the girls. It's like everything revolves around a Wednesday. Okay. So you're watching this on Thursday. Now I'm filming this ahead of time. So I'm not sure if we will, on our Wednesday video from the girls, if we will be kicking off on the new project or still working on doing little tasks like this, you know, presenting our work. Who knows? So tomorrow I will finish off the French garden. Not sure if it'll take one video or two, who knows? Depends how much mucking around I do. I presume only one, but you never know. You sit down and do stitching and suddenly an hour and a half goes by. That's pretty good. That feels nice and secure. Okay. Very good. Oh, now I've lost my thread. I have in the cupboard from my quilting days, do you know when they were selling, they probably still sell them, but I think I've got one. It won't be big enough. Gosh, if I just finished my sentence, you'd know what I was talking about. I swear I've got a disorder. I'm sure there'd be a name for it now. It's a decorative wire shaped hanger, and it has a piece of dowel at the bottom part of it, so you can slide onto it a panel. I did think about using that, but I have in total 6 of these now. The other 4 I made with Anne Brooks's, I don't know what she called the project. I think it was Sew for the Soul. It's when she first kicked off, we were making snippet rolls with her. It was around the time of the whole lockdown thing. And I really enjoyed it because I felt like I was still connecting with the world, and I love stitching, so it just seemed like a natural fit for me. Didn't know at that stage it would lead to a YouTube channel, but it did. It's sort of, I was into the junk journal world as well, so it was sort of just a natural fit because it sort of goes all hand in hand. And I made 4 of them, and I've got them sitting here on my desk because I'd really like to display them. Oh, come on. Go back through. Then I might slip to the back. What's going on here? I slipped out of the needle. Oh, I just can't get it through. What am I, what's the resistance going on here? There we go. I'll just put a pin there. There's a bit of bulk. What's going on? Pinned it. Alrighty. So I'm wondering, like, I haven't finished my sentence. I'm wondering if one of those wire hanger ideas would work if I could get hubby to twist me a bit of a decorative topper. I think it had a heart on it. Or maybe I can find something that is decorative and connect a dowel to the bottom of it. Do you know what I mean? Like a piece of wrought iron from an old gate, or I don't know, just thinking out aloud. I can hear an owl. He's a bit late to be going to bed. The sun's up. Must be a predator or something around that's bugging him. Yeah, it is an owl. You don't usually hear them at sunrise. They're usually back into bed, aren't they? But I can hear him out there. Due to the thickness of the backing fabric, the felt, I'm able to connect this without piercing to the front of my work, which is a good thing. I'm stoked with this little tab on it. That there, that was fortuitous, is that the word? Ow. Okay, here we go. I just can't remember if I connected the ones I made with Anne Brooks to the bobbin or not. I think I did, and I think I just tucked it tight in to the actual bobbin. I didn't put a topper on it. They're a little bit different. They're not a scene as such, you know, a story. Especially, I didn't want the little grapes at the top there to disappear behind the bobbin. but I picked them up because I sort of half thought that I hadn't actually attached them. I thought, well, if I'm going to do these, I might as well I might change to crochet cotton and do a little running stitch down through that lace. That way it'll be a little bit more decorative. Could probably do a fly stitch actually. Do we want to do a fly stitch? Probably got enough going on without. I think I'll just do a running stitch. Just a little. And that'll hold it into position, but sort of take away that shiny ribbon by placing that stitch through. You know what I did on the weekend? I cut up a credit card. Not because I'm feeling liberated, because I'm an idiot. We went to the service station to get fuel. And I'm usually the one that goes in and pays for the fuel on our card, purely because it gives me something to do and I get to wander out of the car and go into the shop, and if I feel like a snack or I feel like just standing there looking at the front page of the newspaper, because who reads newspapers anymore? We should, but we don't. So it's just part of my little routine. Hubby does the fuel and I do the payment. Anyway, I opened my phone where all my cards are kept now. Heaven forbid we have a purse these days. Thanks, Bandit. And for some reason, I've got 2 ANZ credit cards, right? I don't know how it happened that both have my name on it. I don't know. Obviously, one must be part of a promotion when they've sent it out, and they've both ended up in my phone, and I don't need the 2 of them. It's just bulk in my phone. So they've been kicking around there for a while, and I thought, oh, I'll sort that out while I'm waiting for the fuel. And I was really cold too. I just had got cold before going out, and I said to my hubby, I'm going to move away from the car and stand over there in the sun while I wait for your fuel and just take a few minutes just to warm the cockles up. So I've got these 2 credit cards in my head burning a hole going, oh, why have I got 2? I don't need 2. I'm going to get rid of 1. It's just bulk in my phone case. So I decided to, in the sun, in my wisdom, break one of them down. You know, when you fold it in half and you bend and bend and bend and it finally cracks, and then I did it again to each bit, and there was a bin beside me, so I chucked them in the bin. Didn't think much more of it. Went in, paid for the fuel with the remaining card. Now that particular card we use for the business, and then I've got a second card with a different bank for personal. So groceries and things like that, craft supplies, things like that. Anyway, roll forward another day, and I don't know what I was doing. I was going to buy something online, which was personal. So I reached for my phone to pull out my national credit card. It's with a different bank because we've had it for years. It was way, way back when we had a home loan with National Bank, and then we had a home loan with ANZ, and the make you get a credit card every time. Well, that's how it works in Australia. Well, they don't make you, but, you know, you do. So I think, where is my national credit card? Now, in the past, they used to be all different colours. So I used to have a black one and a silver one, and our current bank we're with for the business is Commonwealth, and theirs was a dark grey. Well, every year or so they send you a new card, and it seems to be always a different colour, but not this time. They're all using silver. Someone must have knocked on all their doors and said, I can do you a good deal on silver plastic, and they've all gone, oh yes, let's save 0.1 cent. and they've all purchased silver plastic. So in my wallet, I've got 3 silver credit cards, all for the different purposes that they are for. And one of them, the ANZ, there was a double up. So in my wisdom, I've cracked up the card. 2 days later or a day later, I've come to use the personal card and I can't find it. I'm thinking, is that a pin in there? There is. There's a pin hidden. Look at that. Oh my goodness. How am I going to get... Oh yeah, that's easy. Whew. There we go. That would have been a nasty little bite. So back to the story. You can see what's happened. I've come to use my credit card for a personal purchase and I can't find it anywhere. So I'm racking my brain. What's the story? It would appear that I have cracked up the wrong card. I tell you, I'm just going to put a pin in there to hold the one side. Now the trick is to get it as close as you can to the backing fabric so that you don't get too much bulk. Yeah, so this idiot, and I'm free to call myself an idiot, has stood at the service station forecourt thinking about a million things and not really, That's for calling myself an idiot. I shouldn't have done that. And now I've got a jab. Yeah, so thinking I should tidy up my wallet, and here's that pesky grey card. At a glance, crack, crack, bang, into the bin. And that was my one and only personal credit card. So now when I go to the grocery store, I don't have... Oh, for goodness sakes. Oh, I'm bleeding here and I'm working with pale fabric. This is just going to go bad. Gee, I tell you, my channel's action-packed, isn't it? There we go, that's got it. I really should bring a box of bloomin' Band-Aids into the craft room. Come on. Do your thing, magical body, and clot. There we go. That should have instantly healed. So now I've got to go to the bank and tell them I need a new card. I tried to do it on my app because they say go to your app to do everything, and you can't, because that particular card back in the day, they put in my husband's name. You know, they always have one that's a primary card holder. And then, of course, if you're the secondary card holder, you can't do a bloomin' thing really without them checking everything and that you're okay and you can proceed. And I'm primary on one of them. I think it's the business one, and my husband's the primary on the personal one. So, of course, I can't just order another card. I've got to go into the branch. I could probably ring them up. Might try that first, hey? We ring them and say, hey, I'm an idiot. Don't call yourself an idiot, girl. You'll get another jab. So, I couldn't believe it. That's what happens when they make them all the same colour and there's a tiny little bank logo in the corner of the card. What do they expect? I'm half blind. I wear glasses. That is for distance, so we won't tell them that's not really for this close up, and I should have seen the logo. I was cold, all right? I was trying to warm up. There we go. That's That's looking good. Just a few little slip stitches to hold it. Alrighty. Now we're getting to the pointy end of the project. My husband thinks it's hilarious that I did that to my credit card, but then he's sort of not surprised either. Too much rush, not enough care taken. I can hear that pearl of wisdom in the back of my head. Okay, now we're there. Gee, that fabric is so dense that they've used on the back of that toilet roll holder. It's like a sheeting. Okay. Alrighty, we've done it. We've attached our little piece. Love that little tab. That worked a treat. Would never have thought to probably do that. Got a little thread here. Let's get rid of that. And there we go. We've got a nice, cute little topper for my panel, which should just roll up beautifully. Another project finished. Champagne garden. You are done. Lovely. Okay, let's have a little look. I'll just grab these. These are the snippet rolls. You've seen them before. I've showed them on previous videos. I just want to have a little look at how I attach them. Or are they attached? Yeah, they are. See, there you go. I just put a slip stitch in here to attach them, and that worked a treat. Plus, I had a little bit of space there by the looks of it, so I wasn't losing too much. The work sort of started at the top, so that's all done. Look, I've even got wooden bird cages on there, wooden birds. These ones I just picked a colour and did random stitching of just bits and pieces from my stash. There's stamps. Fake stamps, not real stamps. Some tassels. I like putting a little end on the bottom of them. Then I did a pink one, pinks and greys, and that one should be attached. Yep, it is. So the plan is to find a rod that will go through all of them, and then I can just hang them up and they'll all just hang straight down, or I could have them wound at different heights and you just pull them down to view them, which is probably a better idea and then keeps the dust out of them. This is a neutral one, but the plan was to make it look like it was a branch of a tree. And when I finished it, it sort of felt more like coral. So I did the background and then I laid down the Hessian twine, and then yo-yos, then the lace, then beaded it. So I sort of did a bit of a process with this. Instead of just working on one little area, I did more of a slow stitch concept and actually worked on, the whole space. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. Sort of more of an overall view. And yes, there it is, just stitched down. So that one's done. So it looks like, I thought I might have to be forced to finish this off, but I did do it. That's great. And then the last one, this is sort of colours that Anne Brooks would use. They're not colours I would normally pick, so I thought, well, I'll make one that is more like what she does, and that's stitched as well. A little bit of lace up there. I dyed lace to try and get to those colours using some coffee. Can't smell the coffee anymore. There's some old lace in this one. French knots and yo-yos, buttons, some tatting. Oh, some old lace there. That's part of a collar from Grandma's stash. Oh, isn't it amazing? You see things and you recognise where they're from. I was just looking at this. Now, I did this probably 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and that fabric is still sitting on my desk as part of something I might grab, and I ruched it there. Isn't that funny? Lots of yo-yos. That's an old lace too in there. Ah, the memories. All right, stop mucking around. All right, last piece. This is our wave of colour where we went neutral into pinks, purples, and then finished with the blue tones. Now, I wonder, does this lace work with it or is it not? Doesn't really work, does it? That's where I grabbed this out. I thought maybe something a little bit more neutral. Maybe I can use this folded edge as my stitched down area. Let's just get our, I should have measured the other one while I had it in my hand, but I didn't. That's pretty good. We're just going to do it by eye. Now, our width. Okay, so what do we do to the actual piece at the top? It's going to go on the roll. When we view it, it goes this way. Yep, that's pretty good where everything is positioned. So I might just pin that. We could do a little bit of running stitch on that topper. That'd be something a little decorative. So what I might do is just attach, where's my cotton? I'm just going to stitch this to there for a start. Then I'm thinking I might do some rows of camphor stitching in a row there. I'll start over here by securing it. Yeah, that'll work a treat. You can pretty much use anything, and you can be as decorative as you want because it is seen to a degree. So that's why I'm thinking I might do just some stitching up there. Bit of an overcast stitch will hold that. Ow, I'm getting a sore finger. I've got to start wearing a thimble again. Just got that little sweet spot. where the head of the needle just sneaks and bites me every so often. I sort of get to a point where I put the old thimble on, and I'll do a few weeks with the thimble on and my finger feels really good. It gets a chance to sort of rebuild itself. And then I stop using the thimble and I'm back to square one. I should just wear a thimble. I use one of those little silicone ones. You've probably seen it. Here it is. Let's just do it. My poor finger. I'm using this fine needle too, so it's, if anything's going to go into me, this little guy will. It's not Reginald, but Reginald's probably half the problem. Okay, so this will be nice and secure. Riveting viewing for you. How are we going for time? Not going to have enough time. I'll go a few more minutes. Then I might stop the video, finish it, and then come back. I've got 20 minutes. Amazing what I can achieve in 20 minutes. I stop nattering and just get stitching. Probably could have put the name of the project at the top of the spool too. Would have been another idea. Didn't think of that. Doesn't matter. I know what it is. Come on. There we go. Now I just got to come through there. And that topper is now attached. Last chance, do I maybe put some lace in there? I might do that, you know. That'd be cute. Looks like a garden gate or a garden fence, doesn't it? Okay, we're off on a tangent again. That joins into there, that's all good. Then this could be stitched there. That'd be pretty. That's what we're going to do. Oops. So I will attach this first, then I know it's all secure. Waiting patiently for our house to be finished being built because we plan to move, and everything is just so slow, and you would not believe what's happened now. Where the walls meet the ceiling, they put cornice in. I'm pretty sure it's similar in every country. It's a stock standard way of joining a roof or a ceiling to a wall. They've put the wrong cornice up. They've put a standard cornice up, and we decided, being that this was most likely our forever house, we've had a little play with a few things. You know, when you see all those, if you've built before, you'll know what I mean. You see all those beautiful products and you're like, no, we're only going to sell it one day. We won't, because we were renovating, flipping houses for many years before we got into the Christmas business. So there was always tiles or carpets or just things I'd see and go, oh, gee, I'd like that in my house one day. And we always had a house, but it never felt like it was my forever house. Not like the one we're building, because we want to leave Brisbane and relax in a more relaxing environment. And I've built my studio, and, you know, it's just that type of house. So I said to my husband at the time, I would love to do the cornice that has this little line, top and bottom. It's not over the top, it's just a little detail, but it puts like a shadow line around your roof, and I've always loved it. But it's always, you know, it's a few extra dollars a lineal metre. So when you're building a house to on-sell, you know, you sort of don't do those types of installations. You just keep it to a budget. And that was just one of the little things. That and my tiles. There's a particular tile I have loved for years, and it's made here in Australia. And it's just so beautiful, but to put it in a house you're selling, well, I'd be giving that gift to someone else, and I wouldn't be getting to enjoy the tiles. So I said to my husband, I am going to get my cornice and I'm going to get those tiles. So the long story short, we're up at the house checking it out with the supervisor, and they were talking about they didn't have enough cornice to finish the master bedroom. And my husband said, oh, you don't need to, because it's square set. So they've just got the ceiling, the wall, and they put a piece of tape in there and smear it with plastering products and sand it off. So it's square, so that if you want to put cabinetry into your robes, you can go right to the ceiling without having to cut cornice out. So we're standing there in the master looking at that, and he goes, oh, okay, because we've got a new supervisor. So he's in scramble mode to try and get his head around our house design. Then we literally all glanced to the hallway just outside our room, and that's when the penny dropped. And it was like the penny drop for all of us. And we literally all pointed to it and said, that's the wrong cornice. So he's gone and done some investigating, and apparently the contractor that installs all of those types of tasks, his wife does all the ordering, the poor girl. She does all the ordering, and she's ordered the wrong cornice. So now we're in negotiations with the builder. Do we have that removed and replaced, or take a small refund, or do they take the old cornice out and redo it? So that process of trying to work out whose fault it is at their end has taken 3 weeks. It's like, guys, don't care whose fault it is. What are we going to do? Should we change it out or just let it go? So they've finally come back with it was the person who ordered the materials for the lads who installed it. Obviously didn't read the instructions of our house properly. So now they're in negotiations of who's going to wear that cost and should they replace it. And, oh, I tell you. So we have lost a month of them trying to work out what's going to happen going forward. I personally happy with the cornice that's in there, whatever. Just give me the house. I want it finished. My husband, on the other hand, he's like, well, no, we've paid for that cornice. We really would like it because you've wanted it forever. And I'm like, I don't care. Let's just get in the house. So that's where it's at. And all of that argy-bargy is just taking time. It's just crazy. What am I doing? I need a bigger piece of cotton than that one. So I'm now going to invisible stitch on this little bit of lace as my top edge. So I'm feeling frustrated, to be honest. Now, we haven't had the wardrobes fitted out in the master bedroom because I don't know, I felt like the salesman at the time when we were doing the selection of everything for the home. He just wanted to do something pretty basic, and I wanted them to have at least a few drawers, not just 3. I'm a bit of a drawer person. I probably have more drawer space than I have hanging space. I don't wear a lot of dresses, so drawers are more my style. Anyway, he was a bit blasé about it all, and I'm like, oh, I'd really like to sketch up the space and make sure that it's right. So in the end, after a couple meetings planning the house design, I said to my husband, I just want the room square set, and when I get up there, I'll find someone local who can make some cabinetry for the space, just hence the square set in our bedroom. And when we told the salesman, he was so relieved. He said, look, to be honest, all we do is a set of 3 hanging drawers and then the rails. You can have 1 rail or you can have a double rail. And I was like, yeah, I suspected that might be the case. So I said, just square set that area, and at a later date, we will get someone to quote some cabinetry. And that gave me time to think about it a little bit too. It was just so much going through my head planning the house design, because it's our own design. And I wanted to make sure I got the bloomin' doors in the right space, let alone worrying about what a cupboard was. So I think he was pleased because he was pretty exhausted after having a few sessions with us. And the house is like components from probably every house we've ever built. There's always that one section of the home that we just loved. So we've remembered it, and the bathrooms from this house, the bedrooms are from this house. It's just a piece together. So goodness sakes, I hope it works. It has worked. It looks great. So yeah, we go to an electrical place here in Brisbane to order a washing machine and dryer, because I won't be getting there immediately, you know, moving myself up there. I'm going to need a washing machine and dryer for the home, because it might take us 6 months to actually get there with my actual washing machine and dryer. So we slipped into an electrical place just to grab the cheapest ones we could find. So we did that, and I noticed there was a brand of wardrobe there, you know, custom fit wardrobes. So I said to my husband, let's just take a seat and design our wardrobes, because they can install them and we can have it all sorted prior to getting the house. It can be in production, and away we go. Yep. So we make an appointment. We sit down with them. We go through 2 hours of planning it, and she had the coolest program on her laptop that allowed us to try all sorts of different combinations. So it was so much fun. So we finally nutted out what we wanted, and we get to the very end, and of course they wanted a deposit to proceed, and we're like, just hang on a minute, how do you mean installation will go, and she goes, oh no, it's we've got to find an installer in your area. And we're like, okay, it's a little seaside village. There is towns nearby, but they're all very busy because it's an area that's experiencing high growth. So the long story short, she was going to deliver the boxes to a major city north of Brisbane, so Sunshine Coast. Then from there, we had to get the boxes. So my wardrobe was coming in bits, and take it up to the house, which was another 3 hours away, and then find a local installer because they don't actually have anyone in that area. So after ringing a few installers, they're all got their own companies. Like, they're not going to want to install something from a Brisbane company. And my husband's like, well, if we're going to pay all that money, and she goes, oh, well, she looks at my husband at one point, well, you could do it, love. And he's like, well, if I'm paying all that money to have a bespoke designed wardrobe and I've got to spend a month installing it, what if it's wrong? What if a measurement's wrong? They don't even measure it. They were relying on myself and Gaz to measure it. Can you see anything going wrong with that idea? Oh, jeez. So, and then the hard sales came on, you know, well, if you sign up now, pay your deposit, we'll get it into production. And we're like, hang on a minute. We sat down at this interview with the full intention that we were getting a fully designed wardrobe system and installed in our house. And the bonus was we were in Brisbane and we could organise it now so that it could pretty much go in once we got the keys to the front door in, you know, the next month or so. I keep saying month or so, but it's more like the next year, the way it's going. Anyway, that was so disappointing. It was like, did anyone, and we told them where it was. We filled out all the forms where it's such and such, at such and such, up at such and such. It's 4 hours out of Brisbane. And they're like, yeah, we can do that. That's no problem. But we were dealing with a sales lady on the shop floor. So once the designer comes out, she then rings head office and they're like, oh no, we don't go that far. That's miles away. The best we could do is drop it all off on the side of the road. You pick it up and then you spend a month installing it, and it probably would only take a day or so. But if anything's wrong with the measurements, because you'll have to do that too, yeah. So that was a day wasted. And they're like, oh, why aren't you proceeding with it? Can't you find someone? No, we can't find someone. We're talking a little beach town. There's not the trades. It's a coastal rural area. It's not like Brisbane where there's plenty of phone numbers you can ring. Oh, I tell you. Well, aren't you going to pay for it now and let's go to production? I'm like, no. Hubby's got enough on his plate to do with fencing, retainer walls, turf, installing everything else that needs to be installed when you move house. And now he's got to build a wardrobe system. So I somehow think our clothes will be sitting on the carpet for some time until we can find someone local to help us out, which is fine. Whatever, as long as my craft room's set up. As long as I've got my cupboards in, which I do, and I've got to get to IKEA and get some storage containers, or at least some storage ideas, which I will. It will be all good. Because heaven forbid me craft supplies are not secure. Me bras and knickers will be flying all over the floor. Oh my goodness. It'd be a shambles in my cupboard. but my craft room will be all nicely lined up, ready to go. How crazy. So I just glanced up at the TV and we've just hit the hour. So I guess I better say goodbye. The project has come to the end for these two pieces. What I'm going to do once I turn the camera off, I just want to run some stitches through here to make sure that that's nice and secure. Then like before, I'll do the same thing where I'll just squish that down into there as tight as I can and stitch that into position, and that will be the topper for that one. Okay everyone, I will leave you alone now, and you enjoy your day. I'm going to go and sort out my chopped up card and anything else that comes my way. You have a lovely day. Thank you for joining me with these two projects, and I will see you tomorrow where we tackle the French garden and finish that one off. How exciting. All right, everyone, look after yourselves. Bye.